The Extra Point with Ryan Justice is sponsored by The Phone Medic. For the best in cell phone, tablet, or laptop repairs, The Phone Medic is the only choice for you. The Phone Medic also offers gaming PCs and laptops for both gamers and everyday users. Visit one of the 3 Phone Medic locations in Amarillo, Canyon, and their new location in Lubbock today. Hello, football fans! Welcome to The Extra Point with Ryan Justice.
Wow, what a week 5. What a day of news in the NFL. And we're here to cover it all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Tuesday night. Welcome to The Extra Point. My name is Ryan Justice. I will be joined shortly by the one and only Andy Martinez. But man, what a week 5 in the NFL. Lots to cover tonight. Lots to cover today. Big news today. Especially if you are a New York Jets fan. Before we get started, want to make sure you guys hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, go like the page, share the show, subscribe, get notifications. On Spotify too, follow us on Spotify. We will have the audio version of the show up the next day. But we're going to bring in Andy Martinez now. Andy, I know you a little bit of a technical difficulties, but we're able to get you on this week, man. What a week 5 it was.
Man, talk about a wild week. There is a ton going on. Some exciting games, even if, they maybe weren't some of the cleanest games out there. I mean, they were sure exciting, starting off on Thursday. And man, just some crazy games out there, some crazy outcomes. The news this morning, like, man, we got a lot going on in the NFL right now.
Yeah, a lot to get to. Guys, feel free to sound off in the comments, say hi, chat with us. We'll feature your comments on the show as well. We love hearing from everyone watching right now. But we'll go ahead and get started with hot topics. And the hottest topic today kind of blew up my show. I had everything all ready to go, and then this dropped earlier today. The Jets are firing head coach Robert Saleh after going 20-36 as a head coach. And there's a lot to unpack here. If you just kind of start peeling back the onion on this, where do we begin? You had so-called tensions between him and Aaron Rodgers. They're 2-3, so they're not in a terrible spot, but it has just not looked good for the New York Jets to start the season. I mean, where are you at on firing Robert Saleh?
Yeah, you had a lot of things, especially last year, that out of his control. They kept, with Rodgers getting hurt early last season, them kind of going back and forth, he might be back this week. Oh, he might be back this week, and I think at that point last year, Robert Saleh was trying to, keep a team alive just in case Rodgers comes back. Okay, we get through, all of the ups and downs, mostly downs last year for them. And okay, cool. Rodgers is supposed to come in and he's going to change this team. We're going to get this team, up to a Super Bowl or, pretty darn close. That's what they want to do. But, and then you have Aaron Rodgers who, wants to play drama queen during the, before the season starts, during mini camps. Him and Robert Saleh, obviously, there was a lot of that tension that was reported between the two that they just maybe didn't mesh. I mean, you look at Saleh's defense though, one of the top defenses in the league, but a lot of his, a lot of things he can't control out there. It's not like Saleh's out there throwing picks and stuff like Aaron is. It's a rough thing. I wouldn't expect after only 5 games in the season to see this kind of change.
I was very close to making this another rant because the Jets, to me, fell into the same trap that the Browns did, that the Broncos did. You bend over backwards for a superstar quarterback. We may have lost Andy for a second. You bend over backwards for a superstar quarterback, and you sit there and throw everything at him. and just absolutely. Oh, there we go. We finally got Andy back on the actual platform. But you throw everything at Aaron Rodgers. You bend to this wish list that he wants. You give him a contract that I'm not sure is very team friendly. I was looking at it earlier today. Man, he's got a cap hit until 2029. And his contract, he's not even going to be on the team after this season potentially. You know, you come in here, Green Bay bent over backwards for him as well. And you saw it just stopped working. Once they stopped accommodating Aaron Rodgers and running what Aaron Rodgers wanted, you see Green Bay thriving now. And what exasperates this even more is the report today that Robert Saleh was about to fire Nathaniel Hackett. Well, guess who's best friends with Nathaniel Hackett? That's Aaron Rodgers. And then he goes in and turns the tables. This was an owner firing. The GM had nothing to do with it. Robert Saleh was blindsided by it. Gee, I wonder what led to that. I wonder what conversation was had between which individuals led to this decision. Makes you think, right? You know, I what gets me is that the Jets were a team that were trending up a couple of years ago. And there was a lot to do with Robert Saleh. They really just needed a better quarterback. Zach Wilson wasn't it, but he was a number 2 pick. You had to at least give him the chance to develop and then be able to ride a defense that was one of the top defenses in the league. And this blew up in their face, just like Russell Wilson blew up in the face of the Broncos, just like Deshaun Watson blew up in the face of the Browns. This trend that went on of trading what people think are washed quarterbacks or quarterbacks that have kind of been at the end of the rope really only worked in 2 places, which was, Detroit and the Rams. It didn't work in these other places. One team very much lost out on this. And I'm willing to bet, some people might say, oh, this is the spark that the Jets need. No, because it is going to be the Aaron Rodgers drama train, not taking accountability, finding every plausible deniability that you can hide behind, and letting all the proxies that you have around you take the fall for all of your stupid decisions. I mean, Hackett's a terrible decision maker anyway, and thank God he wasn't the interim head coach. But I'm willing to bet, I believe it's Dave Ulrich or something like that, he's not going to push back on Aaron Rodgers. And this just went from bad to way worse in New York.
Yeah, unless they go out there and they're gonna pick up Davante Adams. I don't know what it's all worth. I mean, if you're giving in to Aaron Rodgers' demands, you might as well just spend every nickel and dime you can scrounge together, buy him, and just go for the whole trifecta. Give Aaron Rodgers what he wants, and then, again, if he fails, and that's on him. And I think it's really going to expose the kind of
we'll tie this into the next hot topic. The Adams trade is heating up, although I just got a notification that it's actually starting to slow down because of the Derek Carr injury and now because of Robert Saleh being fired. But I feel like if Davante Adams went to the Jets, this just compounds their problems because you've got no leader in the locker. You've got no leader on the sideline. It's not like Aaron Rodgers is going to step up and be the rah-rah follow me guy. No, Aaron Rodgers is out for himself and his buddies. And you bring Davante Adams there, sure, you might have another threat in the receiving game, but you've got Nathaniel Hackett calling the play and Aaron Rodgers now calling the plays. We've seen how well that works. We've seen how well this is producing on the field. So you bring in Davante Adams, who the Raiders are wanting a second and I believe a third with some other assets for. Not only are you giving up pieces of your future to go get the guy, but you're also doing it knowing Aaron Rodgers could be gone at the end of the year, and you're left there holding the bag. This is, if the Jets do this after firing Robert Saleh, it is the quintessential dumpster fire in the same league that has the Cleveland Browns. They're competing for who has the hottest dumpster fire. It's absolutely asinine. And now I would say this: if Devontae went to the Saints and kind of waited for Derek Carr to heal up, that might be a good move. But there's no reason he needs to go to the Jets. Absolutely no reason.
No, I agree. It's just it's a wild thing. I just wouldn't have. I definitely didn't see this coming. I don't think anyone did. First thing this morning just to see Salah get let
Robert
go.
Saleh.
And I think again, I think right now, I think anyone who wants to pick him up, especially for any kind of defense right now, is man, that's going to be a huge up in anybody's defense, whether no matter who picks him up, and that's just it's almost like, was he destined to fail with Rodgers coming? Did he ever really have a chance? Because Aaron Rodgers is never going to let anyone run the show besides him. So I don't know if you put anyone in that position if they were going to be successful.
I'm starting to see Aaron Rodgers be called a coach killer because he got Mike McCarthy fired in the middle of a season. You get Matt LaFleur, who basically had to do circles and tailor his offense to him. And now that Rodgers is gone, you see how well that's working. You see how much it's thriving. And now 6 games in, you get Robert Saleh fired, which honestly might have been delayed a year because he had a torn ACL. And I'm not gonna. I'll be honest. I'm so ready for this guy to retire. And don't get me wrong. At one point, I thought Aaron Rodgers was the most dangerous quarterback in the league.
Yeah, for being, again, to cause all this drama, it would, I know it's not about, all the hardware, but it's a little bit about all the hardware he doesn't have to gather this much. I know he has a ton of records and a ton of, those kind of, accomplishments. But again, to win it all, again, you just don't see that happening. You just don't see him. He wants to be, I'm one of the best ever. Man, that's hard. It's hard to put up there when you have guys who have put up multiple championships. Again, you got a guy like Patrick Mahomes right now, who's again just winning all the time and as locked in with his team as you've ever seen anybody. And he could be doing any sort of, drama and asking for whatever he wants, but he wants to do what's best for his team to win. And you just don't see that out of Rodgers.
Don't forget, he's carrying. You compare Rodgers to Mahomes. He's carrying a $500 million contract over 10 years, and it hasn't really hindered the team at all. You want to know the difference between why Mahomes has 3 rings and Aaron Rodgers only has 1? There it is, right there. Moving on to our next of the hot topics. All the rookie quarterbacks won this week. Yay, rookies! All the babies got a win. None more convincing than what the Commanders did to the Browns. They absolutely de-pantsed. Sorry. They beat the Cleveland Browns and Deshaun Watson. My bad. Didn't mean to make that reference there. But man, yeah, the rookie quarterback's got to win. Bo Nix looked good in a win against the Raiders. Caleb Williams looks like he might be starting to get it together with the Browns. And then, of course, we've seen Jaden Daniels just absolutely explode onto the scene. Out of these 3 rookie quarterbacks, potentially 4 starting this week with Drake May being announced as a starter against Houston. I know we can't really speak for him yet, but out of the 3 that started, which one was the most impressive?
Man, for me, everything that Jaden Daniels has done has just been how he's taken this team under him and just, hey man, we're going for it. We're going for it all. We're playing good, solid football. And he's just showing throughout these, not just this week, but these first 5 games, like, oh man, he's got it. He's really hasn't really seen a whole lot of I don't know. He's just pushed ahead and pushed forward, man. I still think he's shining out of everybody.
Yeah, no, I think the obvious one is Jaden Daniels, but the one to me that has kind of flown under the radar has been Bo Nix. Don't look now, and we'll get to this here in a minute and 3 up, 3 down. The Broncos have won 3 straight after starting 0-2. And Bo Nix showing a little backbone, getting into it with Sean Payton, who said he likes that on the sideline. Making some plays. Granted, I guess it was against, not a great Raiders team, but still, to show growth, you got to be able to do it against the bad teams first. And they get a win over the Bucks. They got an ugly win over the Jets, and now they get this win over the Raiders. Don't look now, but I mean, the Broncos are sitting there in second place in the AFC West. And if we're doing this way too early playoff picture stuff, they're in position for a wild card. And I know Bo Nix was kind of side-eyed by a lot of people, but it's starting to look like it might be the right move.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely showing up and showing out. He's Sean Payton saw something in him. He was the guy that he decided he wanted to go with, and he's showing him why he should be that guy. And so, yeah, I think that's a big standout, this week. And as they win 3 in a row, I think they got, who do they have next? I think they have San Diego next.
No, I believe. Let me take a look at it real quick, because next up they've got. That was last week. I'm sorry. I was looking at stats from last week. Let's see. Next week, the Broncos will have. Yes, they host the Chargers in Denver. So that's another one.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers, if they can get it together, I think it'll be a good test. But man, yeah, I mean, Bo Nix is looking real good for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely starting to get high on Bo Nix, and I wasn't really sold on him in the beginning. Still need maybe a game or two. I want to see how things work out with this LA game, but definitely want to keep an eye on. We're going to move on to game reactions now. So, I mean, man, just some crazy games this week in week 5. Definitely delivered. We're starting to ramp things up. That's why October is my favorite month in the NFL, because things start going to a new level. Start with the Thursday night game, the Bucks and the Falcons. Boy, we said last week the NFC South has no longer boring, and this was a game that proved it.
Yeah, I mean, with the back and forth, it was a crazy game. I never expected it to just be so coming down to the every drive mattered, man. They made it, every drive meant something, and it was earned, man. Kirk Cousins really took control of that team, especially in that back half in the fourth quarter and into overtime. And he's earning that money that Atlanta's paying him to come in and try to get this team winning and down the road. But man, it was a wild game for sure.
I mean, I believe they come out next week, but Kirk Cousins at 509 yards in a single game. Those are college numbers. Granted, that sinks the Bucks passing defense way down. I feel sorry for anyone that put them in this week. But, I mean, the Falcons look like they really flipped the switch in this game. And the Bucks are a team that are going to hang around. They meet them again in the next couple weeks. And as I said in my reactions, that one could be for playoff seeding. Because I believe if the Falcons win that one again, they've got the inside track to win the division. Because depending on what the Saints do, I don't see if they can just clear the Bucks out. I don't see anyone that's going to stand in their way. They look like, I know they got off to a slow start. Cousins look shaky at times because of the knee, but now, man, they are just rocking and rolling, and I don't see anyone in the South that can stop them.
No, I think we said it last week, man. Whoever can win, especially whoever, if they decide to, whoever wins both these games, that they play this season is going to be probably the number one in that division. And so, yeah, I think, the South is a crazy place right now. Definitely real unexpected. But again, that gives them two games in a row, and man, like you said, Atlanta's looking real hot right now. They're looking pretty good.
And they're hanging with some really good teams. They hung with the Chiefs. They're making some really big plays. Raheem Morris is doing a really good job coaching, and they're utilizing their playmakers. I know some people might hem and haw about Kyle Pitts, but as long as they're winning, the Falcons don't look like a team that I'd really want to mess with as we go on in the season. Moving on, we're going to go to a game that had me kind of sweating bullets. 23-20 Texans defend on H-Town Blue Day, debuting those sweet New jerseys.
Man, those look so clean. Oh, those were clean jerseys.
Wait till you see the red ones, man. Wait till you see the red ones. But yeah, those are nice. Lots to kind of unpack in this game. I'll go first with the Texans. There's still some sloppy play, especially after the first half. They looked perfect in the first half. They looked like they were just going to absolutely mop the floor with Buffalo. And I said at the half, I was like, man, I really hope they don't let them come back. I would rather play a close game that's back and forth than blow a lead. And it looked like they were going to. The penalty problems that were there came back. CJ had some kind of weird plays. He threw an interception, trying to take a chance. The offensive line started really not getting going. They still missed Joe Mixon. Even Dameon Pierce, I feel like he hasn't been great in the last couple times he's been on the field, but it's better than what they were trying to trot out there. I mean, they had Cam Akers going and they switched to Dare Ogunbowale. There's still some decision-making stuff that I'm hoping that they clean up. None more so than what Sean McDermott did. I mean, you're backed up and you throw it 3 times with less than a minute to go in the game, and you basically just set up Houston to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you look at what the Houston defense held Allen to is under like 150 yards, right?
9 passes. He only completed 9 passes.
I mean, they really held him. I think that really shows you what they can do and what they're looking for. It's definitely with the penalties in the second half, that definitely didn't help anything. But I think once they kind of figure out what they want to do in the rushing game, until Nixon gets back, I think. Who knows? But I mean, the defense held up really well, and I think that's what's going to win them these ball games for sure.
Yeah, I think they got Drake May this week, and a New England Patriots team that is on roller skates. If they can do to Drake May what they did to Josh Allen and what they did to Caleb Williams, they're going to start steamrolling people. Nico Collins going down is big. Pulls up with a hamstring, and now it's Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell's time to step up, because Nico's probably out at least 2 or 3 weeks. Those hammies can be tricky. But if they can this is a team that's finding ways to win when they're not playing their best, and they're doing it against a good team in Buffalo. That's what makes good teams great. And if they can do that down the stretch, because they're the number 2 team in the AFC right now. The only team above them is Kansas City. And if they can play like that and do that against the better teams in this league, maybe those Super Bowl expectations that were there for the Texans weren't so unrealistic anyway.
Yeah, I think so. It's if they keep doing what they're doing, get some more of that, the offense going, and then when they get some of those weapons, if they can get some of those weapons back, man, as we head into, November, December, man, I think that's when they're really going to start popping off, and man, there's no stopping them.
No, yeah, I want to see if they can handle business this week in a convincing way against the Patriots. Definitely a good get right game for them. This one's for you, Andy. I don't know if you want to mess with this one. Cardinals 24, Niners 23. Niners ended on a game-losing interception from Brock Purdy. They didn't play their best ball in this game.
No, I mean, we go up, 23 at the half, and then we just said forget it and went home. It's just it's hard to see. Brock definitely didn't play his best. Nope. I think he was 19, 20 of something like that. He didn't look good. 2 interceptions. It's just it's hard. We're not finally Ayuk had a solid game though, so that was nice to see. But yeah, we had it all in the first half and decided that we didn't need the second. Don't worry about the second half. We can just let them come back, and then blow in the end. It's
Purdy 19 and 35, 244 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Although we'll say this, thank you, Jordan Mason. You helped me hit on my prize picks this week. Won me $75.
Hey, you know what? At least someone's a winner. That's what matters.
How's it going, JJ? Thank you for joining us on the show tonight. Hope everything's going good for you guys. Again, guys, sound off in the comments, man. We love hearing from you. We love hearing your takes. We want to hear what our audience is John. Okay, John says JJ on there, but how's it going, John? Just wanting everyone to sound off. Thank you guys for coming in. Yeah, with the Niners, they've definitely been up and down these last few weeks. Kind of played some shaky football. Jordan Mason has really kind of been, I don't want to say a revelation for them, but he's definitely been found money. And when Christian McCaffrey comes back, if he comes back, they would be a really good 1-2 punch, guys. That's my dog PJ. Say hello to PJ. He's barking at the imaginary mailman at 9:00 at night. But they've definitely been up and down, and I feel like if they have a good rushing attack 1-2 punch, they may get, you may see a different 49ers, and then you may see them really turn it on. But right now it's just real shaky, and they're kind of trying to really find their way without Christian McCaffrey. Now I know Ayuk and Deebo Samuel are still there, and they've been utilizing them. Ayuk's kind of come on a little bit these last couple of weeks, but it's not going to get any easier. They are playing Seattle on Thursday night for what's probably going to be the first place game in the division if Arizona loses. But I don't trust Seattle, but right now my trust is really shaken with the Niners.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I mean, it's hard to see. We go out, we spend all this money, and we try to make sure that we are having all the weapons to make that run. Injuries have really stopped us. Even Moody, got hurt this game, so we're out a kicker. Had to bring someone else in. So it's just, man, things to start lining up the way we want them to. And again, the offense, you aren't making plays when we want to, and then you don't have the defense getting teams off getting off the field like we want either. So it's kind of all around. It's a little shaky. So if Robert Saleh wants to come back, I would definitely accept that for sure.
Packers are doing good, John. They got a big win over the Rams this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
In a pretty back and forth game on that one. I didn't have that one down on the doc to highlight, but I should have, because it was a really good game. Another one of the many really good games we had this weekend. Week 5 was just absolutely, God, it was chef's kiss right there. We'll go to the Sunday night game. Cowboys and Steelers, the game that was played in 2 days, the game where Dak Prescott threw an interception on 2 different dates. After a weather delay, this one was kind of ugly, though. Steelers were just kind of barely holding on until the Cowboys got that walk-off touchdown. And I don't know if I want to come. If I'm either team, I know you had the Steelers losing, but this was another win for the Cowboys. Even though that they're missing a lot of pieces, I'm not coming away feeling very confident if I'm a Cowboys fan.
No, I don't think you should. I mean, it wasn't. It was definitely more of the Packers kind of lost it than the Cowboys, won it. It was a rough game for sure. I don't know how you come out of that real positive, if you are that Cowboys fan going, oh yeah, here we go, we're gonna make the run now. I'm just not seeing it for sure.
No, yeah, especially now you got Parsons out, you got Lawrence out, you got a few more injuries in this game as well. But I want to switch to the Steelers for a second, because this might have been the game that made the case for Russell Wilson to start next week. The offense has done okay under Justin Fields, and it hasn't really lit up the board. Fields didn't even break 150 yards, but he did have 2 touchdowns, so they were efficient. They've been really riding this defense, man, with TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, and just really trying to out physical guys in the game. But you can tell they need a quarterback. They need a guy that can push the ball down the field, strike from anywhere, and really get this offense going. Problem is, I really feel like Justin Fields is your best bet to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they're putting up, just under 20 points a game. So
they're not even breaking 20 points a game, I don't believe.
Yeah, so it's not like they're lighting the world on fire, So, I mean, anyone, if you can get someone in to make those big plays and get some dynamic things going to get that offense pumping, okay, maybe. But man, yeah, to be 5 games in and to not score, to be under 20 points, man, that's not saying a whole lot of your offense.
No, no, and I mean they've been kind of making the calls for Devonte Adams. You had this weird kind of pitch count with George Pickens. This is why I kind of was like, okay, this might be the first year Mike Tomlin has a losing season, because I don't see any positives that they can make on the offensive side of the ball that's really going to change the season for them and turn it into a winning season. They can skate by maybe, but I just don't see. The Steelers aren't a flip the switch team for me. And they need to be. They need to be now. I just don't. Again, I don't see Russell Wilson being that guy. Even if they did somehow make the trade for Devonte Adams that some of their guys are calling for, it's just, again, I feel kind of meh about the Steelers, and I feel the same way about the Cowboys. But I feel like the Cowboys are in bigger trouble because they have a lot of pieces missing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think none of us went in going the Steelers are going to come back and the Steelers are going to come in and they're really going to change the league. They're not. They're definitely in a rebuilding type of place. With everything going on, trying to figure out who wants to run their offense. A lot of pieces missing, but the Cowboys, they spent a lot of money. They're trying to get this. They're trying to make something happen. And when both teams are playing about the same, that's saying something.
What's up, GoJab? How's it going? Thank you for joining us on the YouTube. All right, but we're gonna move on to the Monday night game, Saints and Chiefs, and the Saints got it within 3, but it felt like the Chiefs in this game really just kind of kept it at arm's length and held it there because they knew they didn't really need to do more than they had to beat New Orleans. And it's crazy because I looked at New Orleans. They at one point we were sitting there, and we're gonna talk about this a little bit later in buy or sell, but they looked like they were the hottest team in the league at one point. And I'm sitting there going, okay, they're up against the Chiefs. Let's see if that hype in the beginning of the season was real. And it was just a third straight letdown.
Yeah, I think so. I think they looked so good to start off with, and then really have trailed off quickly. And I think it's hard to because they lost against the Falcons before this, so it's like, man, if you're having
a close game, that was a close game.
You drop a game to Philadelphia, then the Falcons, and then the Chiefs. Man, all that momentum you had coming in really, really fell out real fast, man.
Seeing what the Falcons have become, and of course the Chiefs being the Chiefs, I don't fault them for losing those. I'm not sitting there going, you should have won those. I would say at least be more competitive in the games than this one was. The Eagles one was telling for me, seeing as what all the turmoil that the Eagles are going through right now. And, I mean, I think the Saints are starting to fall off. They're going to be they're going to be one of those teams that's not quite good, but they can hang with anybody. Glowjab asking a question: should we be worried about Carr next week going against the Tampa Bay defense? No, because Derek Carr's not playing. He had the oblique injury in this game that's going to put him down for a little while. And that's big for the Saints too, because that was one of the reasons they might have gotten Devonte Adams, who they could have used in this game. They needed another receiver. I get you have Shaheed, who can strike from anywhere. Problem with Olave is he disappears. He will have a couple of really good games, and then he'll just absolutely fall off the map. So they need a better receiver. Kamara, you can't rely on him all the time. I feel like a good number 2 in that backfield would really help out Alvin Kamara. But this was a game that you compared the two teams, and you could clearly see the deficiencies from a team that was all hype from the team that lives the hype.
Yeah, for sure. I think once Kansas City got comfortably ahead, they could just show what they do. They looked, this is probably the best, it felt like probably the best, they had really kind of firing off, the way they were. They're able to get ahead and stay ahead and didn't, weren't really ever in real big trouble. You had the tip at the, at the end of the game with Saunders, man, what a run that man made.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was like, "Give me the ball, I got this." But other than really that, there was the execution was good. They looked good. It's probably one of the better showings of the 5 games.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Let's go do it for the reactions for this week of the big games. Again, want to shout out my sponsors, the Phone Medic of Amarillo, Canyon, and Lubbock. If you guys need some tech repair, some gaming PCs, laptops, anything, visit the Phone Medic of Amarillo, Canyon, and Lubbock if you are here in town. Also want to say thank you to everyone that is viewing us right now. Go like, share, subscribe on YouTube and Twitch. Twitch is at Justice8908. We're trying to get the subscriber count or the follower count up on Twitch because we want to hit that affiliate status so we can start putting out maybe some subscriber exclusive things and really kind of get the show off the ground, kind of start doing more with the show. We want to start doing giveaways and stuff, but we're going to need, some scratch to do that. So yeah, we want to get the subscriber stuff going. Guys, if you're on Facebook, please comment with stars. And we'll acknowledge a lot of comments. The ones with stars will get a little bit of a priority as well. But yeah, we really want to get the show going. I don't want to be the guy that's begging for money, but we really want to get the show going. I'd love to do t-shirts. I'd love to do giveaways. Love to do some really cool stuff for our fans. But guys, thank y'all for all the support. This show has been growing every week. I've noticed a lot more interaction in the comments section, a lot more viewers sticking around with us. So thank you guys for that. We really appreciate the support, guys. And hey Hunter, how's it going, man? Always good to see you out there on the YouTube. So, and then Guojab switched over to the Twitch. But yeah, so again, guys, we love all the support. So thank you guys. We want to continue to grow the show and get it as big as possible. So with that being said, it is time for 3 up and 3 down. We're going to go up this week. My son's really going to like this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they got their first win this week, and it was an actual close game. It was a back-and-forth game. Thought this one was going to go to overtime, but they end up winning 37-34 against the Indianapolis Colts. So, Trevor Lawrence looked really good. We thought Doug Peterson was going to be one of the coaches fired maybe this week if they went 0-5. But the Jags pull it out against an Indy team that just cannot seem to win in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think it's it was Trevor Lawrence's birthday, so that's a great birthday gift. He's able to give himself and the rest of the team. Yeah, I mean that's what we kind of saw was like what we've expected out of Trevor Lawrence the whole time. Like, he made some good plays, he made some big, threw it out there a couple times. Like, man, he made some solid, good football plays. But yeah, we've been kind of expecting this, if we get this Trevor Lawrence every week, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe this thing could turn around, but I don't see that consistency happening. When you go against better teams, I think they're really going to, continue to shut him down like they have been.
Well, it wasn't just Trevor Lawrence for me too. It was Tank Bigsby. It was Brian Thomas. It was, the defense. I know they let up 34 points, but they made some good stops. And you really kind of saw what the potential of this Jacksonville team could be. And that's, this is kind of a bittersweet putting them on the up list. They get there for getting their first win, but it's like, okay, if the Jags can be that, I know it's against Indy, but if the Jags can be that, where has this been the last 4 games? But, great showing by Jacksonville. Great showing by Jacksonville this week. Next up on the up list, we mentioned it earlier in the show, Denver Broncos won 3 straight. Bo Nix has looked really good. Sean Payton is starting to really kind of get into his rhythm with the coaching. But the Denver Broncos are now sitting second in the AFC West after starting 0-2.
Yeah, I think it looks like things are starting to gel. It took them a few games to kind of get that going, to get what Sean Payton wanted to have his game plan be and what he gel with Bo Nix. But yeah, like you said, 3 in a row. Like, man, here we they're looking really good, man. So it's I think it was a great showing for them and great showing what they can do if they keep this momentum up.
Yeah, and they've got a good defense. They're playing really sound, in there. Even though we thought they might be depleted, their Patrick Surtain had a really good game this past week. He had a great interception, and they wore the throwbacks. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit of a soft spot for Denver. Those throwbacks are nice, man. I love those Orange Crush throwbacks. But top of the mountain this week, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been critical of him. I've had my moments where I was like, okay, I'm not sure I trust his arm, even though he's won an MVP. Top of the mountain this week goes to Lamar Jackson. Oh man, what a game he had against the Bengals.
Man, that was talk about a game, and that was coming down to it. Yeah, no, I think Lamar Jackson looked great. The Falcons looked really good, man. They looked solid. You know, since he almost had him, but man, Lamar really had a game that we need to keep seeing from him if they want to keep winning the AFC.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson had a really good game, and I had kind of been paying attention to what Lamar had done when he threw 40 passes, and sometimes the record wasn't great when he threw more than 40 passes. This was a game where you said, okay, there's the arm we've been waiting to see out of Lamar Jackson. Granted, I get it since he's kind of on roller skates right now, but they have played some really good teams really close. And Lamar Jackson just went out there and showed you why he was the MVP last year. And and Derrick Henry too. Derrick Henry had a really good game as well, and he pretty much won the game on that last play where he just broke a run for the length of the field and was just doing Derrick Henry things, mowing over guys. But yeah, Lamar Jackson again had a really, really good showing. Well, we went 3 up. It's now time to go 3 down. And I mean, he was going to be on the down list for statistical reasons anyway, but after kind of what I have a hunch went on today, he's on the down list for more than that. Aaron Rodgers on the down list, 29 of 54, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 54.9 rating, and 1 coach fired. So, I mean, that's enough to get you put on the down list this week.
Yeah, I think we said a lot about it earlier. Again, people want to be like, he's going to, after this injury, he's coming back and he's going to be the Aaron Rodgers of old. He's moving like he was when he was 30. And, although he's 40, he's moving like he was. You're going to see it. And, I mean, this game showed that, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the, prettiest of games for even the Vikings to, they weren't as dominant as they – wasn't as dominant as they had been, but that defense still held them out. They still, kept them at bay. They got those, those picks and those turnovers. And yeah, you just can't win games when you're having, 3 interceptions in a single game like that.
And I mean, this was, I know the stats, or the yardage and everything looked a little bit better. This is a continuation of last week where they just could not get it going in the offense. And I get it, you're facing 2 good defenses, but you're supposed to be the team that has Aaron Rodgers on the other side. And when Aaron Rodgers is playing like Mr. Rodgers, no disrespect to Mr. Rodgers. Everyone's a good neighbor. But, when he's not playing like top of the line NFL quarterback, you're not going to win games against those good teams, especially a team as hot as the Vikings right now. And I feel like Aaron Rodgers has fallen off a cliff and he wants to point the fingers at everybody else and say, no, you're the reason this is happening. It's not me being a 40-year-old quarterback that's coming off an ACL surgery. No, couldn't be that. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers on the down list this week. Next up on the down list, Josh Allen. For the second straight week, the Bills underperformed. This was a severe underperformance by Josh Allen, only completing 9 of 30 for 131 yards, a touchdown, and a 56.4 rating. No turnovers from Josh Allen, but man, he was under duress the whole time in that game. May have lost Andy on this one. He froze up. But yeah, Josh Allen on the down list. He was under duress the whole game. He definitely was not playing at his best. He hadn't been playing. There's Andy. But yeah, Josh Allen, just not his best game against the Texans this past weekend.
No, I mean, this didn't look good for Josh at all. It was not good at all. We expect a lot, especially, when they get down like that, it becomes, okay, Josh Allen's going to throw it on his shoulders, and we're going to keep going. We're going to put it on Josh Allen's back and make it happen. And he just couldn't. He couldn't even get that going for him. He couldn't get the old formula going. So yeah, it would say it hadn't looked great for Allen the last couple of weeks, and I'm not sure what he needs to do for himself to get that turned around this week.
Yeah, and it's 2 weeks in a row though. Like it's 2
Mhm.
weeks in a row that Josh Allen and the Bills have looked bad. I know a lot of people want to say, "Oh, it's the playmakers," but I mean, Allen's had a tendency to really underperform in big situations anyway. And or throwing, he wasn't throwing the turnovers, which is a change from where he was a season ago. But I mean, I'm not surprised by this with Josh Allen. So, but he's not the factory of sadness. This week's factory of sadness, and I imagine they're going to win plenty of these awards this season, is going to go to the Cleveland Browns. Where do we begin? I mean, Cleveland is in about as much of a rough spot as you can be. Someone said it this week. Deshaun Watson was given a captain's patch. He was not voted a captain. Jameis Winston is the one doing the pregame speech. That team has rallied around Jameis Winston, not Deshaun Watson, and it clearly shows. Watson is absolutely 100% washed. I mean, you go from the last time, from last season with the Texans leading the league in passing, and to what you are now, which is a shell of your former self that is going to get Kevin Stefanski fired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I think because they spent so much on him, they spent, it turns out to be one of the worst, deals in football for,
Sports.
absolutely. And again, last year, you throw in Joe Flacco, who makes you a very viable team, who is now showing on Indy that he can make them a very viable team. He shouldn't, Joe Flacco should still be the guy there. He should be.
They never even offered him a deal.
No, he was, because they spent all that money on, on Watson. I think, even if you bench him, into next year, he's over $100 million in cap space. I mean,
they are the definition of screwed.
Yeah, and like you have a guy who, again, you go find anybody, go pick anyone.
You have Jameis Winston on the bench.
Mm-hmm. Anybody could play better than.
And I mean, I know if Nick Chubb comes back, it might get better, but it might take some pressure off of Deshaun Watson. But it's not going to fix the fact that he makes horrible decisions. He's trying to be a superstar and holding on to the ball too long, which was a problem he had in Houston. I was sitting there. I don't know how many times I screamed, "Throw the damn thing away" at the TV when I was watching a Deshaun Watson Texans game. But I don't know how much Nick Chubb coming back is going to fix. And the Browns are just getting worse by the week. I believe, man, there's a good chance Kevin Stefanski could be gone. Their only hope, I guess, is to bring in Bill O'Brien, who is the only coach that ever got anything out of Deshaun Watson in the NFL. But, I mean, even Bill O'Brien, when he went back to the Patriots, was a shell of his former self. So, that's going to do it for 3 Up, 3 Down. Again, guys, thank y'all for joining us tonight. Again, want to shout out sponsor, Phone Medic of Amarillo Canyon and Lubbock. If you guys need tech repair, if you need a gaming console, PC, laptop, cell phone, tablet, any kind of tech need for you, go get it at the Phone Medic of Amarillo Canyon and Lubbock. Also, guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, sound off in the chat. We love all the interaction. We love hearing from you guys, especially in this next segment. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. But like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, and go like us on Facebook as well. Help the show grow. Let's get everything going. But now it is time for buy or sell. Guys, I want you to sound off in the comments too. If you've never seen buy or sell, we're going to throw take at you guys. And, if you buy it or sell it, let us know. We're going to let you know. So our first one up, again, we kind of touched on it earlier. Bo Nix is better than advertised.
Man, I'd hate to I think right now, the last 3 games, I think he's shown that that he is. The first couple of games, I'd have definitely sold on you, but I'd probably buy some of those stocks right now because man, he's like I said, he's looking good. He's led him 3 straight, and he's only looking like he's really gelled and figuring out how to play, to be a quarterback here in the NFL. So I'd probably buy that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy as well. He's not getting it like Jaden Daniels is, but very few rookies catch fire like he has. But he has shown steady progress each week. I would say, especially in his last 3, when he's been supported by the defense. Sean Payton has made good coaching decisions as well, and he hasn't had to fight against the coaching staff. He's showing more and more confidence each week. I know he had the turnover this week, but he's got a test this week because LA's got a good defense and they can make a rookie quarterback look stupid. But yeah, I'm going to buy in that Bo Nix is better than advertised. Let us know in the comments, guys, what y'all are thinking about Bo Nix being better than advertised as we get to the next buy or sell. We kind of asked this earlier as well, but I want to go ahead and lay it on the table. Buy or sell, were the Saints overrated?
Yeah, I'm buying that. I think we got pretty hyped up in those first couple of weeks, and then we've seen the train start to fall apart. Yeah, they were close games, but again, everyone on that team's a little older. It's hard to it's hard to keep all those going like you need to see how we get deep into the season. And if you're falling apart this early, it's never a good sign.
Man, I'm on the fence about this one.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to sit there and go, yeah, I think the Saints are back, but I'm going to buy it for now because I want to see how they hold up against Tampa Bay. I know losing 3 straight is hard. Losing 3 straight is definitely going to put a dent in your confidence, but if you can go out and beat Tampa, who has been beatable, and make them lose 2 straight, you get the momentum back. But right now, yeah, I'm thinking the Saints were a little overrated, and it's going to be even harder now that you don't have Derek Carr. If they get Devontae Adams, I may switch that to a sell. The Saints aren't overrated. Pair him with Shaheed, then okay, you might be cooking a little bit. Never mind the fact that they're $88 million over the cap every year. So, but yeah, I'm kind of sitting there thinking, yeah, Saints are overrated. This one was your buy or sell. Buy or sell, Vikings will be the last undefeated team in the league.
Man, I'm buying it. I think we've seen with everything the Vikings have, they've really just been so dominant. And I think their schedule is a little easier. If they can get past, they have the bye week this week.
Mm-hmm.
Their big challenge when they come back will be the Lions. When they come back off that bye week, they'll go up against the Lions, and that's going to be telling. Luckily, they're at home for that game, but everything past that, I feel like, man, it's not the hardest schedule out there after that.
See, I'm going to sell because it is still Sam Darnold. And granted, he's being supported by a really good team around him, but it is still Sam Darnold.
Sure.
And this game against the Lions is really going to be that they come back from after the bye is really going to be a big test because the Lions are about as on fire as you can get right now. They're coming off a bye this week, and I get it. They're probably going to punch up on Dallas this weekend. By the way, I will be at that game for the NFL on Fox, experiencing that firsthand. Humble brag. But probably coming home with the sorest feet in Texas. But yeah, I think this game against the Lions is really going to test them. And if they get boat raced by the Lions, or if the Lions kind of do what they did to Seattle and keep it just out of reach for them to be like, oh, Seattle played well, but the Lions were that much better, then yeah, I don't see the Vikings sitting there being the last undefeated team. I think it's still going to be the Chiefs. I mean, until somebody proves me wrong, it's going to be the Chiefs. So, next up on buy or sell. Again, this is Aaron Rodgers heavy show because it's been a New York Jets heavy day. Buy or sell. Aaron Rodgers has full control of the offense in New York now.
I mean, I think it shows. I think that's what he's wanted. I'm buying it. Whether that's a detriment, probably. But yeah, I think he's the one who wanted to, have the whole show. And I think with you get your good friend as the offensive coordinator, and you get rid of the problem that was in the way. Hey, you spent a lot of money on me, owner. Like, I should be running this thing. I know better. I went to the Super Bowl. I did that. But yeah, I think he's in full control of the offense, and I think if the ship goes down, hopefully it'll be he won't take blame for it, but we'll all know that it's because he hit the iceberg and ran that down in the ocean.
I'm going to sell because I don't think now is the key word. I think he's had full control of the offense. I think he has never not had full control of the offense, and it showed. Hackett's just the guy Hackett's an empty suit that Aaron Rodgers wanted to get a job. But he's had full control of this offense. And, I mean, it shows on both sides of the ball. You see the guy that's competent in what he does in his decision-making with Robert Saleh in the defense versus the guy that wants to be in control in Aaron Rodgers and what's going on with the offense in New York right now. So he's had full control for a long time. That does it for buy or sell, guys. We're going to go into our game previews. The lines we're getting are provided by ESPN Bet. Great place to go throw some money down if y'all want to either lose it or win you a couple extra bucks this weekend. As the bets I placed on PrizePick were the only things that helped me out after a birthday weekend at the casino where I got taken to the cleaners. Anyway, we start off Thursday night with the San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. Niners are 3.5 road favorites despite being 2-3 and in third place in the division. Thursday night game, short week, coming off of a pretty heartbreaking loss. What are your expectations for San Francisco?
Man, I'm hoping that we can, tighten up everything, tighten up the defense. We have to, I think Brock has to get back into, settle down a little bit. I understand you're trying to make the play, trying to get that win, play smart football, make the solid pass. We got to have, obviously, everyone, step up in, the receiving core. We have them, we have Ayuk, we have Samuel, like we have Kittle can, be there too. Like we have the team to do it. We just have to really start, we cannot rely, we have to get the run game going early, keep it rolling. And then, Brock make this good, smart, play decisions.
We've had a discussion in our group chat that you are now a new member of about whether or not Seattle is one of those upper mid-tier teams. And I trust teams like Washington above a team like Seattle in this instance when they're going up against good teams. I mean, you saw what happened to Seattle against the Giants. They let the Giants come in there and just beat them around. And I feel like that's the same thing that can happen with San Francisco. Seattle is a team that I feel like is kind of just getting by in a sense. I know you've got, you talk about Geno Smith and all the weapons that they have, but they don't have a great defense. If I'm looking at their defense right now, they're sitting, I want to say just outside the top 10, but that's in yards per game. They've let up some big plays. Granted, they feel very meh to me. They don't feel like a team that I can sit there and go, they can beat anybody. When I think upper mid-tier team and a team that can beat anybody, I'm thinking of anybody above them. They need to be beating the teams that are way worse than them. And they get beat by the Giants, and the Patriots take them to overtime. The Niners are a much better team than the Seahawks. And I know they got kind of caught by surprise with the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have been catching a lot of teams by surprise anyway. And they're punching way above their weight class, if I'm being honest right now. But this is a game that I feel like the Niners defense could step up. They can overcome their injuries. Brock Purdy had a bad game. Okay, everyone has one. I think Purdy bounces back in this game. I'm not saying shootout, but I feel like that the Niners defense pushes the Seahawks around a little bit, and we get a solid game out of Brock Purdy and all those weapons. So I feel like you and I are in agreement. We both got the 49ers this week in Thursday Night Football, which is our 6th straight division game, by the way, in Thursday Night Football.
I mean, if that's what they want to make Thursday nights, be the division night, I'm for it. I think I think that makes it exciting for people to tune in on Thursdays.
The streak breaks next week, but we have had good division games on Thursday Night Football. It hasn't been, Thursday night is bad football night. Moving on.
We couldn't say that last year because there was
or the year before when we had Broncos Colts and people were leaving it overtime. This is the big game this week, though. This is the big game, the one I feel like a lot of people are going to be tuning in for. Washington at Baltimore. Baltimore, surprisingly, Washington's still not getting the love they need to get from Vegas. 6.5-point underdogs. Baltimore coming off of a stunning victory in Cincinnati. A shootout. I mean, that's one of the things that you think Joe Burrow would have won, but Lamar Jackson and that offense got the better of it. Washington has been on fire of late. You got the rookie quarterback. They're first place in the NFC East. He's kind of revitalized this Washington team, and they're going up against the league MVP and, of course, probably the most dangerous running back in the league right now. This is going to be another game that I feel like is going to be a great test for both teams, and it could come down to who has the ball last.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think both defenses, are definitely, in the lower half of the league, when it comes to, rankings and stuff. But yeah, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a really close game. I think if you can, almost impossible to do, if you can kind of contain, Henry and Lamar a little bit, that's your big advantage for sure. But yeah, I think the way that Washington's is playing, they, like I said, they're not doing anything super fancy. They're just playing good football and making they really have that solid, cohesive, this is how we're going to win these games kind of attitude. And we just have to be careful of the Ravens and, their dynamic playmakers.
They're both in the middle of the pack. Baltimore coming in at 13, or Washington coming in at 13, Baltimore coming in at 18. They both have solid run games. Brian Robinson has played really well. You've got a great receiver on Washington side, and Terry McLaurin, of course. He's said he wants to be a Commander for life. This is about as even as a game as I think you can get. And the fact that I feel like Baltimore is 6.5-point favorites, that's a little disrespectful to Washington, but they are at home. So this is our split pick of the week. You've got the Commanders in this one. I've got the Ravens. What's got you going with Washington?
I think I just really like the way, Washington's really just taken things on fire. They've really taken, Jay Daniels has really just taken this team under him, and they're going forward. Cliff Kingsbury's really shown that, hey, I'm gonna, this is the offense I want to run, and they've done it. They've just executed really well, man. I just like the dynamic. I just like the, the way they've come out and shown that they can, make something happen. I think if they do win this is really telling of the team they are to beat a team like the Baltimore Ravens.
I wanted to pick the Commanders. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to, but sometimes you get with these teams and the rookie quarterbacks, they run into a team that is just legit better than them. And right now, I mean, you're running into league MVP, and you're running into Derrick Henry, who has been a truck for a running back. They've got a solid enough defense to make enough stops against a rookie quarterback and make that rookie quarterback make mistakes. And I'm not a fan of some of the receivers. They got to figure out who they're using at tight end, whether it's Likely or Andrews. You got Zay Flowers. But again, this runs through Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. And I get Dan Quinn's probably going to have a game plan for him, but Lamar Jackson's just such an athlete that he's pretty much going to find a way to make something happen against almost any defense. And they're at home. which Baltimore's already a really tough place to play to begin with. So that's the reason I got the Ravens this week. Detroit goes to Dallas in a game where it's surprising that they're only 3.5-point favorites in this game. This is a game I'll be at for NFL on Fox this weekend as a runner. Expect pictures on the socials. I'll hook you guys up. Not for the game, but just some cool little pictures, photo ops, stuff like that. Again, humble brag. But Detroit, again, Super Bowl favorite going to Dallas, a team that's kind of on their heels. And, this is a game that I feel like could look exactly like the New Orleans game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think, with all those missing parts on the Dallas offense, Detroit's going to take advantage of that. I think, Jared Goff and company are really going to make it real hard on that Cowboys defense. They are, again, they're coming off a bye at the perfect time. They feel fresh early. I think it's, they're carry all the momentum they have. Yeah, I just think Detroit's a much scarier team, all around, and I think they're really going to exploit that Cowboys defense for sure.
And here's the thing: we didn't touch on this a lot during the show, but things are kind of coming apart at the seams in Dallas. You saw CeeDee Lamb saying something to Dak, and Dak not even looking up at him, and it's looking like there's some discontent. And those are the two guys you just signed to multi-year contracts, and if they start getting boat raced again by one of the better teams in the NFC, how bad is that going to be? Again, live television, guys. Got some technical issues on Andy's side, but if they start getting boat raced again, what's that going to do on the Dallas sideline? What is Mike McCarthy going to be able to hold this team together? I think it's safe to say both me and Andy are. We got the Lions this week over the Cowboys. So we move on to the next game. Cincinnati 1-4 at the New York Giants. It's hard to believe this is the Sunday night game. There's Andy. He's back. We're going on to this curious Sunday night game that we had. You and I both had the Lions. I feel like that was a pretty easy pick to make. But this curious Sunday night game, Bengals go to the Giants. They're 3.5-point favorites, even though they're 1-4.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this sounds really harsh. Does anyone care? They're the favorites, and since you almost beat, came real close to beating Baltimore, but like you've said earlier, they're on roller skates, man. They're just one banana peel away from just heading down, and it's all over for them. It's not a great matchup for anybody right now on this.
I'm going to say this. This is my last chance for Cincinnati. If they can't beat the Giants, I'm done with them on the season.
Sure.
Pack it up. You're 1-5 at that point, and you've been beaten by some of the worst teams, and you've hung in close with some of the best teams. Andy versus technology. Again, that's the second storyline in this game. Thanks, Hunter. But you've been, I'm tired of the slow start excuses. You shouldn't have had slow starts to begin with. If you are the team everybody says you are, it's evident they're missing Joe Mixon. It's evident they're missing pieces on that defensive line. You can only rely on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins for so long. And I get it. The Giants are a dumpster fire in and of themselves, but Cincy's supposed to be better than this. And this is my last chance with Cincy. This is why I know you're picking the Giants at home. No, I do not want to get out of the show. I know you're picking the Giants at home. This is my last chance for Cincy because they should be better than this.
Yeah, I just, I went with the Giants. They're playing at home. I don't have any faith in Cincinnati right now. Like they've looked like just a team who's just so lost in what they want to do and what they're trying to get done and their whole goal. I just don't know if I have any faith in them to beat the Giants, and I just think the Giants are going to pull something out at home, against we've seen crazier things so far this season, so I think that's why I picked the Giants. Giants
did beat the Seahawks without two of their best players, but you're not facing Geno Smith at quarterback, so I don't know. That's again last chance for them. We move on to the Monday night game. I'm so sick of talking about Aaron Rodgers on this show. But I guess that's what he wanted, to dominate the news cycle. Buffalo goes to New York. They're 2.5-point favorites. A repeat of the Monday night game where Aaron Rodgers blew out his knee. The Jets could bring everything back to 500 for both teams. It's hard to believe. You know, they fired their head coach, yet they're second in the division. I mean, I just don't get it. I think this is a must-win for either team. Josh Allen needs to win this game to get the stink off the last 2 weeks. And New York needs to win this game to really kind of say, hey, maybe it was Robert Saleh's fault all along.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I think, I think the Bills have to win to get back on that road. Josh Allen needs to set the record straight, make up for the last 2 games, like you said. And then, I think, maybe, sometimes you see, hey, this craziness happened to the organization. We're going to rally behind, our guys, and we're going to go out there and win. I don't know if that's going to happen with this team this way, but it could. We've seen crazier things happen, that's for sure. But I just don't see it. I just don't know if Aaron Rodgers is that guy.
This is something going to be game, especially if the Bills get Khalil Shakir back and Ed Oliver. I think it's done. I don't think the Jets are going to stop them. And they definitely don't have the better quarterback. If Josh Allen gets his head screwed on straight, this could be done by the middle of the second quarter, if we're being honest. Because I don't see that offense getting moving in New York. And I don't see the defense is good, but they're going to get gassed. Especially if the Bills lean on James Cook. And, I think it's safe to say we both have the Bills. Josh Allen kind of gets right and shakes off, okay, hey, you had some rough you played the Ravens and the Texans, 2 teams who are looked at the same level as you as Super Bowl contenders, and you lost. Okay, maybe you'll meet them down the road. But you have to win this game. Otherwise, the headlines are not going to be favorable for the Buffalo Bills. So
no, absolutely.
That does it for our game predictions. Again, guys, go like our sponsors, PhoneMedic of Amarillo, Canyon, and Lubbock. Go check them out. Like, share, subscribe. Be sure you guys get the notifications. We go live every Tuesday night on the socials, The Extra Point with Ryan Justice on Facebook, my Ryan Justice YouTube page, and of course Justice8908 on Twitch. Where you can not just find the Extra Point content, you can find, yes, I am a professional wrestler, so you guys can find some of my wrestling content there as well. But be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word, guys. We love hearing from you. We love hearing from you guys in the comments. But now it is time for the extra picks. I've got 2 weeks in a row. I'm on a streak. 2 weeks in a row that I've hit on. Full disclosure, I didn't bet the week before, but I did this past week. It was the only thing I won coming out of my birthday week and going into the casino. But I hit on all 3 the week before, and I hit on the ones I picked this past week. $175. I mean, I can go for it. Needed it. But the extra picks via Prize Picks. How this works, if you guys want to get in on Prize Picks where it is legal, basically what you'll do is you'll pick 2 lineups. You can pick from receiving yards, passing touchdowns, rushing yards, interception, defense. Go through the categories. You pick 2. They have some great free squares available right now where, hey, Aaron Rodgers gets half a yard passing. Hey, you've won half your lineup. But you pick whether or not a player is going to have over a certain amount of yards or under a certain amount of yards, and then you go and watch the games and hope they hit. Our first up on the extra picks right now, Jordan Love. This one's a surprising one for me. Jordan Love under 259 yards passing.
Yeah, I mean, that seems, man, I don't know. Jordan Love, I mean, he looked pretty good coming in there. Who they playing the Cardinals,
I'm
right?
for it right now. Green Bay has a division. Oh, they're playing Arizona.
I mean, that's that maybe's not the worst bet for sure. They could definitely keep him under that.
I like this bet because Arizona does kind of have a knack for intercepting balls. I'm sure you're familiar with that. Sorry, Andy. But I feel like they are also leaning on Josh Jacobs a little more. He had a great game against the Rams as well. And I feel like they're letting Josh Jacobs kind of control the football a little bit more. And that's kind of what if they play that, you don't have a chance to let Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray go and do the highlight reel plays. So I like Jordan Love at under 259.5 passing yards for this weekend. Derrick Henry is our next one. Over 89.5 rushing yards. I feel like that as good as Dan Quinn is with defense, Derrick Henry always finds a way to break a big run in whatever game that he's playing in. It seems like this season, he always finds a way to break an over 50-yard run and then just chips away at the rest.
Yeah, I think that's a solid. I think that's a solid, bet. I mean, 89. Yeah, I think he's putting close to 100 yards a game. So I think that's a solid bet right there. I think you're going to get some money on that one.
Final one of the night, guys. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 77.5 yards in the Lions comeback off the bye week. Going up against Dallas, he's up against Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, a couple other guys, a banged up Cowboys defense. Jared Goff likes to, they know how to get him open. They know how to get him into explosive plays. So, yeah, I like Amon-Ra St. Brown over 77.5 yards against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I think because of Dallas's beat up defense, I think that's going to give him a good opportunity for Goff to really make that connection and get the ball out of his hands more and get it down to St. Brown if he needs to.
Well, that's going to do it for the extra point tonight, guys. Thank y'all for joining us. Great night. Loved everyone in the comments. Love seeing all the interaction. Guys, thank y'all for joining us. We're going to try and get the episode up tomorrow on Spotify. In fact, I am going to get the episode up tomorrow on Spotify. Follow us there if you guys haven't already. Thank y'all for tuning in. Love hearing from everybody. Again, guys, we start week 6. We're here already. Start Thursday night with the Niners and the Seahawks. Guys, enjoy the games this weekend. I know I will. Andy, I know you will too. Any last thoughts?
No, I mean, again, just when we thought all the craziness to start the season, we might die down a little bit. The NFL never disappoints. It's just one crazy thing after another, and I don't expect week 6 to be any different. And I think we're gonna come out of this week, maybe some big changes for sure.
Well, again, guys, go like our sponsors, the Phone Medic of Amarillo, Canyon, and Lubbock. Like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you're helping you spread the word, guys. Let us know. Let people know. But guys, that'll do it for us. Until then, goodbye. Good night.